Hi, this is David at MASH IT. Following on from our recent X17 and X15 reviews, we received a lot of requests to compare these laptops to hopefully help you to make the right choice if you're planning to buy one. Now, in case you've missed these reviews, we're going to link both of them in the description sections down below, so you can catch up on those if you want to before you watch this video. And before we start comparing these two laptops, I want to mention that we will not be directly comparing performance results, as we have a 3060 X15, but a 3070 and 3080 X17. However, as we've tested the cooling solutions on all of these models, we can give our impressions on the relative performance between them. So let's begin by looking at the two laptops together. Here we can see how compact the new X15 is over the X17. Obviously, being a 15-inch laptop, it's going to be narrower and shorter. But what is impressive is how thin the Alienware have made this laptop, the largest variant of which is 16.3mm for the 165Hz base panel model. But compromises had to be made to squeeze in these high-end components. Firstly, there is a worse port selection, with the X15 dropping a USB 3.1 port, a mini display port, and the Ethernet port, although Dell has included a USB-C to Ethernet adapter. The X17's port selection is what I consider the bare minimum necessary for a gaming laptop, whereas the X15's one USB 3 port means that most will have to rely on hubs or a USB-C adapter for external peripherals. Opening both laptops, other than the size, both of these laptops look identical, with the same Lunar Light chassis and dark side deck. The glass trackpads both feel great, though the X17's trackpad is slightly larger. Both keyboards use the same newly designed compact Alienware keyboard. Although this works on the X15, being a smaller laptop, on the X17 it does look a bit out of place, with all of this wasted space flanking either side of the keyboard. The X17 also has an option of a mechanical keyboard, but not the X15 as the unit is too thin. Either side of the keyboards are what looks like speaker grills, but are actually vents for cooling. Both these laptops have downward firing speakers, but the X17 also has front firing speakers. So let's test how these speakers sound against each other. So you can clearly hear there that the X17 speakers are much better than the X15's. Moving up to the screens, obviously there's a difference in size, but there are different options in the panel configurations on offer from Dell. On the X15, the base panel is a 1080p, but our pick would be the 240Hz QHD panel, as this provides the perfect balance between resolution, image quality and gaming performance, whilst also giving the added benefits of a mux switch, advanced Optimus and G-Sync. Moving over to the X17, unfortunately there is no QHD option with this laptop, which is a real shame, so we have three options instead. A 1080p 165Hz or 360Hz, with the latter also receiving advanced Optimus and G-Sync, and the final option being a 4K 120Hz panel. Moving up to the webcams, both these models feature the same webcam and microphones, and both units feature Windows Hello facial recognition, which is still my favourite way to log into Windows. A benefit to buying the 15-inch is the much lighter weight at only 2.3 kilograms versus the X17's 3.06 kilograms, making the X15 a much easier package to carry. All variants of the X15 ship with Dell's new compact 240-watt power adapter, keeping the package as light and compact as possible, whereas the X17, although the 3060 and 3070 models receive the new compact PSU, the 3080 model is shipped with Dell's old 330-watt, very large house brick PSU. This PSU weighs as much as an Ultrabook and really increases your travel weight. So this leads us nicely into the performance section. The reason for this PSU is the fact the X17 has a much better GPU power budget on all models, whereas the X15 unfortunately receives restricted wattage to keep the temperatures in check with this incredibly slim chassis. This means that the 3060 on the X15 receives a mere 90 watts, and the 3070 and 3080 receive 110 watts. In contrast, the X17 gets the full 130-watt 3060, 140-watt 3070, and 165-watt 3080. When it comes to the CPUs, although both laptops offer the new 11th Gen 8-core CPUs, the X15 is limited to the 11900H, but the X17 can be configured all the way up to the unlocked 11980HK processor. Using the 11800H in both models, I was pleased to see that the X15 performed almost as well as the X17 with regards to the CPU performance. As we mentioned at the beginning, because we do not have the same GPUs on these laptops, we cannot directly compare the game performance. But what we can tell you is that game performance will be better on the X17. And as an example, the 140-watt 3070 will perform as well or better than the 110-watt 3080 on the X15. But that aside, gaming on each of these laptops is a great experience, as they will both run flat out without throttling. Neither keyboard gets overly hot, and the fan noise is comfortable if left on balance modes at 50 decibels. The reason both these laptops perform so well is this new 4-fan cooling system and vapor chamber in these models. Looking at the internals, we can see another big difference between the two models, and that is the soldered on RAM on the X15 as opposed to the 2x RAM sockets on the X17, giving the user the option to be able to upgrade to their own RAM. Strangely, the X15 has a socketed Wi-Fi card, and the X17 has its Wi-Fi 6 card soldered on. Regarding battery life, we performed our usual test of streaming a video over Wi-Fi at 50% brightness. The X15 wins here at 6 hours and 45 minutes versus the X17's 5 hours. The fan noise on both laptops was the same, coming in at 50 decibels when gaming on balanced profile, and also both laptops perform great in idle and low load usage, with the fan being off at idle, and as the laptop warms up it comes on very lightly but is not obtrusive. So this leads me to the conclusion, should you buy the 15-inch or should you buy the 17-inch? I often really struggle with comparison reviews, but in this case I feel it's quite an easy comparison to sum up. These are two very expensive laptops, with the X15 only being £100 cheaper on the entry-level models. Unless portability is your absolute priority, then the X17 is an easy pick. We get a more rounded port selection, better speakers, upgradable RAM, and incredible performance. The X15, on the other hand, is incredibly compact and light for a 15-inch model, and does get the advantage of the QHD panel option and slightly better battery life. But I feel if you really need a slim and light gaming laptop, there are better options available out there. I know I personally would pick the X17 between these two laptops, and I've really enjoyed my time using it. But let me know what you think between these two laptops in the comments section down below. And as always, if you have any questions, please ask and we will get back to you. Thank you for watching.